Alright, hello everybody! Does it sound like an echo in there? You are currently inside my oven. One of my chores I have to do at home is cleaning the oven. And today I'm going to show you how, using just simple ingredients that you probably have at home. All we're going to use is baking soda and water and a sponge and a rag, whatever else you need to scrub. And obviously my oven is off. That is the first part of this. Make sure your oven is off and not hot at all. You don't want to be trying to clean a hot oven because certain parts of the oven, like the coil, might be really hot, and that's dangerous. So it's a good idea to clean your oven first thing in the day before you've used it for anything, so there's no chance that it's hot. So I'm gonna get my materials and we will get cleaning. Okay, so for our oven cleaning today, like I said, we're gonna need baking soda. Huge bag you can get at Costco for just like $6 or something. It's pretty cheap, but you should have baking soda hopefully somewhere around your house. Where's my jar? Hold on. I keep mine in a jar because then it's a little easier to scoop out. Then you'll just need a rag, a little kitchen rag, one preferably maybe that's a little old that you don't mind getting really dirty, and a sponge. I like using the rough side of the sponge to scrub out the oven. And then you're going to want a bowl. I've already mixed my mixture. I'll show you how to do that. And a little spoon for stirring. And that's pretty much all you need. Okay guys, so to make our natural, easy oven cleaner, we're just going to combine baking soda and water. So we're going to combine 3 tablespoons baking soda along with 2 tablespoons water. And then we're going to give it a stir. And it should form kind of a paste. You don't want it too loose or too thick. So there you go, kind of a paste. That looks good. And then we are going to take this to our oven and put it where we need to clean. Okay, here is the inside of my oven, which as you can see is pretty gross right now. So what you're going to want to start doing is get your rag, get it wet, and then maybe just go around picking up kind of all the dry bits that you can. Anything that's fallen down in the oven, try to scoop that stuff out before we start using our baking soda mixture. I'm not going to show you all this, but make sure you're cleaning the door as well, because a lot of stuff, as you can see, gets stuck on there. We're going to do a quick round with our rag, and I will be back once I've scooped up all this gunk. Gross, look at all these little bits of burnt stuff. That's what I scooped up with my wet rag. Alright, so we're going to start with the oven door. So we have our mixture, and if there's any spots where there's really something stuck on, put the mixture right on those spots. My door is fairly clean, so what I'm going to do is take my mixture, and I'm just going to kind of spread it around. It looks kind of gross, or looks like I'm not doing a very good job of it, but that's alright. You just want to get a little bit of it on there. Then what I'm going to do is get my sponge, wet sponge, and I'm going to scrub it all off with the rough side of the sponge. Okay, got my wet sponge, and I'm going to use the rough side, and I'm just going to scrub. Now, the baking soda mixture is kind of our cleaning agent. And of course, if you have an oven spray or liquid at home that you use to clean your oven, that's fine. They make a lot of solutions. Ovens usually just have some pretty tough stuff on them. But the baking soda is a little bit more natural approach, and I thought, since people aren't going to the grocery store as often, probably have baking soda and water at home. So that's something good to use. I really like to scrub there's little burnt on spots that you can see. And you can see them disappearing while you're scrubbing. And all the white baking soda mixture you put on might start turning kind of brown or black, scooping up all this gross stuff. That's what you want, because that means you're getting the stuff unstuck. And you might put a little elbow grease into it. You take a turn with someone else at home, and someone else is helping with chores. As you can see, the white stuff is starting to disappear. So then what I'm gonna do, rinse off my sponge. I'm gonna get my wet rag, and I'm gonna wipe up all of this stuff. So you don't wanna leave it on there. It's not gonna harm your oven. That's another nice thing about using baking soda, or it's not gonna taint your food if you forget to leave some baking soda inside. It's not gonna make anything taste like a chemical or anything like that, but you wanna make sure you get all of it off. Otherwise it dries up, kind of flakes around the inside of your oven, and then it's another mess to clean up later. I'm gonna rinse this off and do another round of rinsing. Alright, with the door pretty clean, let's move on to the inside of the oven. Okay, now we're gonna work on the inside of the oven. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the baking soda mixture and spread it. The door looking pretty good. Inside though is where you'll have a lot. You can see these black stuff that gets pretty burnt on. I've been cooking a lot of oven pizzas being here at home, and the cheese drips down. If you have a coil, it's not gonna unattach. You can lift it up. Just make sure you don't break it while you're cleaning. Every oven's gonna look different. This is what mine looks like, so just be careful with whatever is on the inside of the oven. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our baking soda mixture that we made, and if at any point during this you need more, just throw in some more baking soda and water. What you're gonna do is pour it over all those spots we just looked at that were all black. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this sit in here for 20 minutes. Sounds like a long time, and it kinda is. But what that helps do is it helps that baking soda break down any gross stuff that's on your oven. You can spread it around. Try not to get any of it on the coil or any other important parts of your oven, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. It'll bake off, as far as I know. Just gonna hit all the spots. Let's just use the rest of our mixture, because what else are we gonna use it for? Actually, this is probably a good mixture. You could clean a bathtub with this. You could clean a countertop, really anything that is got some tough dirt on it. Okay, now we're gonna let this sit for 20 minutes. All right, so while our baking soda mixture is sitting in the oven, breaking down all that gross stuff, we're gonna work on cleaning the oven racks. So we have our oven rack in the sink, and you may not have to clean these as often, but this is what mine looks like, having not usually cleaned it. And oftentimes what you'll get is stuff like that. There, it just came off. Bits that get burnt on, that those can come off easily, but it's still, ugh, I don't even know, that's sticky. I don't even know what that is. Gross. That's what we're gonna be using our baking soda for. So now, we can take our sponge, the rough side. What we'll do is we'll take some of our mixture, just glob it on the sponge, and then we'll take our sponge and scrub any gross parts of this. And if you got stuff that's really on there, you can let that baking soda sit, because look, it's gonna fall down. We'll pick it up, but Maybe spread it around the sponge so you get a little better surface area. But it should kind of clean as you go. Obviously, stuff that's a little more stuck on is going to be harder to get off. This is another reason to use the rough side of the sponge. Again, maybe use a sponge that is kind of a dirty one, because you can already see I'm getting a lot of schmutz on there. I can put a little baking soda mixture on here. Maybe let it sit for a couple minutes. And again, you want to be cleaning this in your sink just because you're probably going to make a mess. Then we can maybe flip it over. I know it still looks dirty, but like this isn't sticky anymore. That stuff might have stained the metal, but I got off whatever was making it sticky. And do that, do kind of the same thing. Spread some of our baking soda water mixture on our sponge and start scrubbing. A lot of times you can see where there's burnt on stuff. Then, once you've got all this done, you're going to want to rinse it off. So you can get your water going, and you rinse your sponge off. Ah, gross. See how much stuff came out of that sponge? That was all on the oven rack. Just the rack, not even the oven itself. Alright. Then you can just run this and rinse the rack off. That was the phone flying into the sink. And I'll just rinse it down. Doesn't look, 100% cleaner, but looks a lot better, I think. If there's any little spots left, I could go back and see, that's even just coming off with my finger. Do a little spot work if you think you need to. If you don't have a place to let it dry, you can just leave it in your sink. I'm going to use a paper towel because I want to have this done sooner than later, and I'm going to dry it off. Alright, we are back inside the oven. We have waited 20 minutes, and let's see if the stuff on the inside comes off easily. It's hard to give a good before and after, but if you run your fingers over where there used to be a big bunch of stuff, it's probably smooth now. There might just be a little bit left there, but you can go back over that with the sponge. So now I'm going to go through the rest of this. And while you're wiping up the particularly dirty spots with all this, be sure to start cleaning around the whole oven. So after you clean one spot, use the leftover baking soda and really scrub all the parts of the oven. Because there's probably burnt on stuff all over, just not as much as in the front. And if you find a particularly dirty spot, pick up some of that extra baking soda gunk, cleaning stuff you've got, and use that on it. That'll help. Okay, Well, now it looks like a real mess. We got all that stuff in there. We're gonna get our wet rag. Try to kind of mop it all up. This will take a couple rounds of wiping because you're gonna get piles like this. Put your rag over it, pick up as much of it as you can, go dump it in the sink. All right, we are back with our clean oven. It may not be the most clean thing in the house, but as you can see, we got a lot of that burnt on gunk off. Our door is looking a lot cleaner. There I am. And you're gonna wanna let everything dry for a little bit, or if you wanna cook right away, you can run a dry paper towel over it. If there are still streaks, you can run a wet paper towel over just to pick up any excess gunk or baking soda residue. But that is how to clean your oven.